In this video, we are going to take a look at how to simplify expressions that have some kind of product of some variables, possibly with numbers raised to a power. So here's how you do that. The first thing you do is you disregard the variables and only do the numbers. Okay, so you have 5 here and it's cubed. So in the final answer, whatever is 5 cubed, that should be in the front. So if you want to just go ahead, use a calculator and put it as 5 to the power 3, press enter, that's 125. So just remember that that is going to be part of your answer. So the calculator is not going to help you with variables, but it definitely will help you with the actual numbers. Okay, just make sure that if the number is negative, as it's going to be in the next example, you have to put it in parentheses. So that's the important part. The next part is you're going to start distributing that power to the terms. So this 3 right here will go over here, and it is also going to go over here. So what will happen? Okay, so let's take a look. So you got x squared, and it's going to be raised to the power 3. So you raise it to the power 3, okay? And then you're also going to have y, and that's also going to be raised to the power 3. So all I'm doing is I'm taking that power that I have, and I'm distributing it to the inside. Okay, and then I use a rule that you should have on your card, which looks like this. Let's say you have x to the power 5, for example, squared. What do you do with the powers? Well, you multiply them, so you get x to the power 10. So if you have this sort of example on your card, then you will know what to do if you see something like x squared cubed. So you will remember that we're not adding these powers. So it's not 5 plus 2, that would have been 7, right? That's not right. It would be 2 times 3, that would be 6. So this would be x to the power 6, and then you got y to the power 3. So that's the final answer for this example. Okay, let's look at the next example. So here, again, I want to first get rid of all the variables and just imagine that I only had -5. But it has to be in parentheses. So think of it as like inside parentheses, you got -5. What does that mean? Because it's going to make a big difference if you put parentheses or you don't put parentheses. Because if you don't put them, you're going to get a negative answer. And it actually should not. Because when we square a negative, it becomes a positive. So this is just a 25, and that's it. So you've got 25, okay? So that's the first thing. Second thing is we're going to start taking that power and distributing it to all of these terms, okay? So what will happen? So let's get through all of these. So x cubed is going to be squared, right? Y squared is also going to be squared. Z to the power 4 is also going to be squared. So that power goes to every single power of these. And remember that to finally simplify, to write the final answer, we multiply these powers. So whatever this is, whatever that is, we're just going to multiply them. So 3 times 2, that's 6. Oops, I'm sorry. That's not supposed to be 6 on the 25. It's supposed to be x to the power 6. Okay, what will happen with y? Y is supposed to be 2 times 2, that's 4. And then z will be to the power 4 times 2, that's 8. Okay, so that's the final answer here. So looking at this example right here, now here we have just a minus in the front. So we technically don't have a number, we just have a minus. Well, that minus, you can think of it as -1. So I can just make it into -1 right here. And I can see what happens when I raise -1 to the power 6. So very important to put it in parentheses. You will see that that is just going to be 1. Okay, so that's a +1 because -1 multiplied by itself even number of times will just become +1. So -1, -1, but it's even number of times. So that negative is just going to disappear because that's just a 1. I mean, you can keep it, but multiplying by 1 is not changing anything. So next, we're just going to take that power 6 and distribute it to all those terms. So it was x, and now it's going to be raised to the power 6. And then it's going to be y to the 4th raised to the power 6. So again, remember what we do with these powers is we just multiply them. So if you permit me, I'm not going to write 1. I'm just going to write x to the power 6. And then it'll be 4 times 6, which is 24. That's the final answer there. The last question is actually a trick question. So this is something that you should have on your card also. So one of those rules that you will need. So I'm going to put it right here, like in a little box. And that is anything to the power 0 is always going to be 1. It really doesn't matter what that something is, as long as it's actually not 0, because 0 to the power 0 is actually undefined. That's impossible. But if it's anything else to the power 0, the answer is always 1. So if you forgot that, you can always use a calculator and say to yourself, okay, I can't remember what was a number to the power 0. Was that 0 or was it 1? Maybe I forgot. Well, the calculator will tell you that's 1. So you could do whatever you want. It doesn't matter what it is. You can put 11,789 to the power 0 and it is going to be 1. Okay, so anything to the power 0 is always 1. So this whole thing, it looks kind of complicated, but it's not, because this whole thing, whatever that is, to the power 0 will just give you 1. So just remember that power 0 means the answer is 1.